Hey everybody, welcome back to Tech Progress. My name is Corey and today I've got another monitor unboxing and review for you. Today we're looking at the LG 32ML600. It is a 32-inch 1080p IPS panel. It's HDR10 certified, 75 Hz refresh rate, 5 millisecond response time. It does not have G-Sync or FreeSync, so it should be good for gaming, but it doesn't have those features. Typical brightness of 300 nits. 16.7 million different colors. It's color calibrated from the factory and has a 99% sRGB coverage and 95% DCI P3 coverage. So it should be a good monitor for content creators and artists, as well as gamers. If you're not set on G-Sync or FreeSync, it does have a 75 Hz refresh rate. So if you stick to V-Sync, you should be definitely good to go for gaming. Who's looking for a larger monitor in the 32-inch size with decent colors, and I hope it is decent colors. So anyway, let's unbox it, take a look at what comes in the box, and then we'll get into the review. So let's open it up here. I've not had it open yet, so let's take a look and see what we got. Hopefully I'm not slicing into the panel. All right. Oh boy. Okay. All right. Wow. Here we go. So, just like most LG monitors, it does have the quality assurance report that comes with it, saying that it has been color calibrated and everything passed. Looks like somebody with wet hands held this one. Okay. So, it comes with piece of the stand, comes with the power adapter, all this out of the package here. LG likes to stick everything in bags. Okay, so we've got the owner's manual disc that you probably won't use much. We got the registration card, a looks like a quick setup guide, nice little Ziploc bag with HDMI cable, about 3 to 4 feet of HDMI cable. Okay, so your AC/DC power adapter, so it's AC power cable, like the power brick, like most LG monitors have now, so you don't plug your AC right into your monitor, your transformer's in the power brick over here, so you have DC power from the brick to the monitor and AC power from the wall to the brick. You have got some screws for putting the stand on. You've got your cap for your stand. We figured out what that one was in the 4K LG monitor video. It looks like this has the exact same stand. Handling guide, how to take it out of the box, because that's necessary. And the same stand that comes with most LG monitors today, which is a aluminum stand, which is nice. It's got an aluminum core in it, as well as a plastic shroud on top. So it is actually a nice stand. This is the one that's going to be a little bit wobbly, so I'd like to see how it does with the heavier 32-inch. But I'm actually going to be mounting this with the VESA mount. It has a 100 by 100 VESA mount, so if you need to wall mount it, this is definitely the one to get. Save your money on the stand. Okay, so get into the actual monitor here. Alright, in fact, I'm just actually going to take this entire hard or styrofoam thing out and get rid of the cardboard box, because we don't need that. That makes things a little bit easier. Okay, so we've got, we'll pull the panel out here. Apologize if I'm being a little rough with it. Wow. Alright, that is a large panel. Okay. We'll just leave this here. Kind of protect it as we set it up, but wow, okay. So, I'll show it to you here. That is the panel. It is a nice 32-inch panel. It's actually fairly lightweight. So, if you look on the back, it looks like it has a VGA port, VGA in, HDMI 1, HDMI 2. It has a headphone jack, as well as your 19-volt DC in, as well as a, looks like, I don't know if that's removable or not, which might become an issue when wall mounting it if you want to mount it pretty flat to the wall. Okay, so front of the panel, pretty normal. Back of the panel, basically you've got your VGA port. I'll move this a little closer to the camera so you can see it. Basically you've got your VGA port, you've got your HDMI 1, HDMI 2, your headphone jack, and your DC input. I'm going to say this down here is for mounting it. And actually, I will put the stand together on camera here so that you can see kind of how to do it. Alright, so basically, you throw this piece on here. There's a couple of screws that go into it. These LG stands are really easy. Not quite as easy as the other models, but they are fairly easy here. So you throw the screws in. Your bottom here has a little built-in screwdriver kind of deal on there. Hopefully the camera can focus on that there. And basically you can just tilt this up, throw this in this way, and screw that down. Alright, so screw that down. Make sure it's nice and tight so it doesn't scratch up my table. If it's left sticking out, it may not be recessed enough. And then last but not least, you have this little cap that just kind of slips onto the top here and snaps into place. So, and you can take your monitor, lift it up, and you can be rest assured that it is going to safely sit on the stand. Let's take a quick trip through the menu and see what options we have. First of all, we have a single joystick at the bottom of the monitor that controls all the different options. It has an up, down, left, right movement, as well as a single click in the middle for your selection. When you first press the button, you get this initial quick menu of input, settings, picture mode, and power off. And then you have your settings to the right. And basically, to give you a quick trip through this, what you have is a quick settings, which is your brightness, contrast, volume for your headphones if they should be plugged into the back of the screen, as well as your color temperature. Then you have a input menu that has your choice between HDMI 1, HDMI 2, or VGA, as well as aspect ratio between original and full wide. You're going to want to use the original most of the time because that's going to give you, it's going to display whatever resolution you feed to the monitor. Then you have your picture modes, and we can go through those. First of all, you have your custom mode, which allows you to change any option available. You are more limited to what you can change when you go into the other modes. Next, you have your vivid preset, which gives your picture a little more vivid look. You have your HDR effect, which is supposed to give it more color depth and give it kind of an HDR look, even if the signal is not HDR. I personally do not like this one. I don't find it works very well. Next, you have your reader mode, which is good for long periods of reading, especially on a white background. It darkens the picture up a little bit for you. You have your cinema mode, which is supposed to be good for watching movies. You have your FPS and RTS modes. I cannot tell the difference between these two modes. Basically, all I see is they kind of wash out the color, make it a little more flat, and brighten it up a little bit, probably for seeing enemies in dark places a little bit better. Then you have a color weakness mode, which is an accessibility option for people who have trouble distinguishing the red and the green colors. If you are in that boat, then this monitor does have that option. So then you have your picture adjust, which gives you your brightness, contrast, sharpness. You have a super resolution option, which is supposed to be for taking lower resolution pieces of media and giving them a better look on a 1080p screen. Then you have a black level option. Then you have your DFC mode, which basically is, it'll adjust your brightness according to what's on the screen. You have a game adjust mode, which gives you different options for response time. Basically, your faster response time is going to be a direct signal from your HDMI input to the panel with no processing in between, which is going to give you your fastest response time and your best chance at an FPS game. So if you're an FPS player, that's for you. You have your black stabilizer, and then you also have this option to throw a crosshair in the middle of the screen when playing games. It's supposed to give you an advantage. I know most games already have a crosshair, so I'm not quite sure what advantage that does give you, but it is there. And you have your color adjust. You have your 4 different gamma modes that will take you through different levels of gamma. You have your color temperatures, warm, medium, cool, and then you have a manual mode that allows you to change your warm, medium, and cool levels. You have red, green, and blue levels. You have a 6-color mode, which allows you to change the hue and saturation of red, green, blue, cyan, magenta, and yellow. Then you go into the general menu and you have your language, your energy savings, which is going to dim the monitor when it thinks it can save some energy. You have your automatic standby mode, which is going to turn your monitor off after 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours if it is set to on. You have an HDMI compatibility mode, which allows you to connect an older piece of technology, say an old DVD player or an old Blu-ray player that doesn't support HDMI 2.0 and wouldn't recognize this monitor as a valid input. You can go into HDMI compatibility mode and it will accept it. You have your on-screen display lock and information about the monitor.
So after using this panel for the last few days, I've noticed that it does pack a lot of features into a large 32-inch IPS HDR panel with a 75Hz refresh rate. I find the colors look great, maybe not as good as the LG 27UL550 that you can check out in this video here, but they do look good and the monitor has a ton of color adjustment options. The motion blur was average and the response time was decent for gaming, however it does lack G-Sync or FreeSync, which would have been nice, but with today's GPUs you shouldn't have too much trouble hitting 75 FPS at 1080p anyway in most titles, so you most likely just be relying on VSync anyway. There are no built-in speakers, and I really wish there were, as I wanted to use this as a TV, but that seems to be a thing of the past today. The viewing angles are excellent. You get brilliant colors right to the side of the panel with no fading. The IPS bleed is there, but it's not the worst I've ever seen. The monitor came with no dead pixels, it was easy to set up, and the colors look great right out of the box. Text was clear, easy to read, and there was no artifacting. The 75Hz refresh rate worked well, with no frame skipping, as tested with testufo.com's frame skipping test, which is great. But for some reason, every time you selected a 75Hz refresh rate in Windows, a large warning comes up on the panel that tells you that the recommended resolution is 1920 by 1080 at 60 Hz, and recommends that you switch to that resolution. This probably means that the monitor is overclocked to 75 Hz, but it doesn't seem to affect its performance. The stand has only tilt up and down adjustment, but seems to be stable, with no bobblehead action like some other monitors with this same stand. The stand was removable, but the rather large nub that sat on the back of the monitor that you mounted the stand to was not removable, and that affected the monitor's ability to tilt up and down when mounted on the wall. The only other downside I see to this monitor is that it has a glossy screen, which I was not aware of when I bought it, since the Best Buy website claimed that it was a matte finish. You may have noticed that my camera had some trouble capturing the image on the display. When the picture was in perfect focus, the finish on the screen caused some kind of effect that created a pattern of white blocks on the screen. This pattern seemed to change with focus and would get better if the camera was out of focus, hence why some of my shots are out of focus. If anyone has any technical explanation as to why this is, please leave a comment below because I'd really love to know why. I tried to record the screen of the other two LG IPS panels that I have, and they didn't have the same issue, so I'm assuming it has something to do with the finish on the screen. Personally, I don't like the glossy screen. The reflections from the lights in my house were too much, even when something bright was on the screen. So my final recommendations definitely differ from my initial thoughts. If you just want to edit home movies, watch Netflix, and play casual games, and you want a feature-rich 32-inch panel with HDR functionality at a fair price, this isn't such a bad buy. If you are a professional photographer or content creator and you need something more professional, then I suggest you look elsewhere. Also, if you're a competitive gamer and you need high FPS and instantaneous response times with no motion blur, this isn't the monitor for you either. I would recommend this panel as a decent everything panel, a jack of all trades, master of none, so to speak. And if you fall into that category, then yes, I think this is a pretty good buy. But if you're looking for something a little more professional, then I suggest you look elsewhere. So that's it. Thank you for tuning into Tech Progress. Leave a like and get subscribed for more great tech videos in the future. And if you have something to say, leave it in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.